What's up, guys? It's Carolyn here for another episode of Nerd and Chill, and today I finally get to cover the legend herself, Taylor Swift. And I am so excited, let's just dive right into it.
Nerd.
So today we are going to be, of course, covering the new Disney Plus documentary, The Long Pond Studio Sessions. So if you haven't already heard, Taylor Swift dropped this literally last night at 3 a.m. because I live on the East Coast. So I was going to stay up all night and I just didn't. But it's fine, but we're here. We just finished it. I'm going to just be breaking down each and every little segue into the music and reacting to what these songs were actually meant to be saying. We guessed a lot on what these songs meant. There's a lot of going back and forth between the question of who is William Bowery and along with what was the relationship between Betty, the August girl, and James? There were so many questions we had not had answered by Taylor herself, and this documentary answers them all. Of course, the first song on this documentary is The One. The first time this song came out, I thought it was a breakup song to Joe, and let me tell you, my heart shattered. But we came to the realization as a fan base and as myself that The One was just to another lover at another time. And Taylor Swift herself confirms that is the theme of The One, which was a very easy one, a great song. It's great to hear how she came to choosing that as the opening song of Folklore, which is a completely new genre for her to tackle. It's really cool just to see that opening line and how important that opening line to her of, I'm on some new shit, they're saying yes instead of no. Like, that's the definition of this era. And it was cool to just see her confirming that. The next track on Folklore is, of course, Cardigan. She does not talk about the song because it is brought up later, because it is part of that love triangle. The next song that is brought up is The Last Great American Dynasty, which is such an interesting song to hear her relate it back to country music, back to her roots, saying, this is a song where it's like, my mom went your mom, and then they made me, which is the exact parallel to how this song is written, because she talks about Rebecca, the former owner of her Rhode Island house. And then she goes into the end of the song, which gives you absolute chills by saying, and then it was bought by me. And it's so cool to also see the parallels between her and Rebecca. She openly says, I relate to her so much, and I've been waiting to write a song about Rebecca for years. And looking back at her previous work, I am happy that it finally came true on Folklore. So here's the kicker song, the one we were all waiting for the answer for. The lovely duet between Taylor Swift and Bon Iver, Exile. I love Jack so much because he tried to play the bit of, oh, William Bowery isn't a real person? What a true friend. What a great moment that was. The answer is finally revealed in this little segment of the doc. William Bowery is in fact Joe. We did all guess that. There was some speculation that it was Harry Styles, which would have been awesome and insane. Like, imagine a song written by Taylor Swift and Harry Styles. Like, that would be, like, probably the record of the century. It is Joe, and it's really cool to hear how him and Taylor are so similar in their creative aspects. Because he's an actor, she's, of course, Taylor Swift. And I had no idea he was a songwriter, and it's so cool to open that up and hear how they just mesh. Watching Taylor Swift fangirl over Bon Iver was, she's still a real person, guys. And she gets even nervous talking to other artists and asking them to collaborate, even though she is Taylor freaking Swift. I love this girl so much. I can't listen to Exile the same now, knowing these two who are madly in love for I think 4 years now maybe, wrote one of the most tragic, beautiful breakup songs in a sense. They're meant for each other, guys. Beautiful. So the next song on the track list is My Tears Ricochet. As Jack says, this is probably one of the best songs she's ever written. It hits you in the gut in a different way every single time you listen to it. Listening to her talk about the backstory behind My Tears Ricochet of trusting someone so much and having them be your best friend and then all of a sudden have them dig a dagger in your back. That's the worst kind of pain and betrayal you can have. And she captures that magnificently in this song. So the next one's actually pretty interesting, the actual backstory behind the song, which is Mirror Ball. Mirror Ball, we all thought it was just like, oh, like you're trying to impress someone, like you're the mirror ball, like look at me. But in fact, it is written about her time in quarantine being an artist. It was written the day she found out Loverfest was going to be canceled, which was a hard day for her. It was a hard day for us too. It was a hard day for everyone. And knowing this song was the child of that unfortunate decision for everyone's safety, I appreciate it so much more. Her trying to speak for herself by being an artist and being like, well, what do I do now? How am I doing this during a pandemic? And the child of that is Mirror Ball. The next song is Seven. Seven, I knew it was about her growing up. There wasn't much speculation besides what Seven was about. Hearing her explanation as to her thought process behind Seven is iconic. It's her just talking about how she wants to be a toddler again and be able to throw fits and tantrums and literally throw a bowl of cereal across the room because she still has those emotions, and it's about not knowing how to act and reserve those emotions when you're upset and wanting to be able to just and throw it's really cool to listen back now to that song. So here we are. They finally talk about the love triangle of August, Cardigan, and Betty, or otherwise known as the love triangle between Augustine, Betty, and James, which if you don't know about this, just listen to the 3 songs and you will see it for yourself. There is an obvious love triangle, but we all thought maybe they didn't get back together. But Taylor Swift says no. Hold up. Cardigan is written from Betty from 20 years in the future. Just looking back at the situation, well, she's with James, happily married. I was not expecting that outcome. After how James dragged her through that entire situation that is August, I'm shocked. But I'm hoping I'm happy in their made-up world. The next song is This Is Me Trying. This Is Me Trying, we knew it was kind of about those special gifted kids who succeeded all their lives through elementary, middle, and high school, and then they get to the real world or college and they're burnt out. Taylor adds a little more aspect and insight into it, as in it's someone fighting addiction. And it's cool to see someone who's always been so quiet about drinking alcohol. It's interesting to hear her sing about addiction. She really is hitting every single perspective in Folklore. If this doesn't win Album of the Year at the Grammys, I'm going to riot. We're gonna get a Dear Netflix video, but we're gonna get a Dear Grammys. So Illicit Affairs is Taylor's let me get out of this blank space kind of view in the media, which is a whole nother topic on itself. The media. She finally has a break. No one is telling her, oh, she's the girl that writes breakup songs anymore. She's just Taylor Swift, the iconic, legendary Taylor Swift. And then the next song is one of my personal favorites right now, Invisible String. Invisible String is exactly what we all guessed. It's fate. It's being tied to where you're supposed to be by that little invisible string you don't know. Every single hiccup in the road is one step closer to where you're supposed to be. So the next song is Mad Woman, one of my personal favorites. This is her just being how do I respond to the assholes in the media being no, she's just being crazy. No, why would I respond to that? Come on. This is her finally saying, F you, and sit down and listen to what I have to say. Because the more you go on saying, oh, she's insane. Oh, she's just over-exaggerating. No. You make a mad woman. So the next song is Epiphany. Epiphany is about just going through those traumatic things the nurses are going through right now that they'll probably never want to talk about. But what's really cool about this little snippet is she talks about her grandfather who fought in this war that was the bloodiest war ever, and he refuses to talk about it. And that was also a big inspiration into the song, which none of us knew. But it also, all of us tied the song to our own traumatic experience in our lives that we just don't want to talk about. And I think it's just a release and a reminder that none of it will make sense at any point in our lives, but maybe it just might. Maybe we'll catch a break from thinking about those horrible traumatic things in the song, and it's giving people who don't want to talk about the things their own story. Next song is Betty, which is another William Bowery's song, aka Joe, who actually wrote the chorus. Man, this guy, they're really perfect together. I'm so happy for her. But yeah, this was the song all three of them collaborated with together, which I've already tackled the love triangle, so we're gonna move on. The next song is Peace, which is exactly the opposite of the title. Yeah. And that's what they talk about in this little snippet, is that he gave her the most peaceful song in the world with the most beautiful instrumental, and she went, no. That's the one thing I can't give you. I can't give you peace. And he's like, you really did that. And she's like, yeah, I really did that. I love her so much, guys. Just her mind. Second to last snippet is for Hoax. It's just them talking about how the National usually releases albums from different perspectives, and how every song is a different side of like a coin. That is the way Folklore is written. And Taylor Swift does have her reservations in the beginning of like, yeah, I was scared to do this. Have like different narratives and sides of a coin all wrapped up into one beautiful present that is Folklore. And I'm so happy she went with it, because it wasn't what we expected. It's different, but it's her. And that's what we love about Folklore, is it's her telling us so many stories and so many folklore. It really is folklore. This entire thing really puts the album into perspective. And wow. Whew. So the last song on this track list, which is of course the bonus song, The Lakes. The Lakes is 100% my favorite Taylor Swift song ever. Her and Jack talk about how 100 years ago there was the Spanish flu, and how writers then just vanished and wrote and just did not let the media or anything going on affect them. They just wrote and did what they were meant to do, which is insane to think about. And she took inspiration from that and wrote Folklore. So let me know what you guys think of the entire documentary / concert series down below. And again, if you want more content like this, more documentaries on musicians, more just documentaries in general, let me know down below. Comment, like, and subscribe, the usual, because I love you guys, and I love doing what I do, and I love that I finally got to talk about Taylor Swift. And I will, of course, catch you guys on the flip side.